This is Tom. This is Mike.
This is James Dees.
This is James Flane.
They decided that walking was for sissies and they didn't want to do it. So they got 4 bikes instead.
These 4 big brave boys adjusted their cycling underwear and set off on their way.
The relentless hills were no match for the boys. They went uphill
And downhill.
They finally got to the town of Telves, but where was the campsite?
Tom didn't know.
Mike didn't know.
Dees didn't know.
Flane didn't care. He touched his hot brake disc and burnt his finger.
Eventually they found the campsite, but it was closed.
The grass was long, there was no running water, not even a toilet.
Well, the bushes did the job.
The grass was too long to camp on, so
Instead they camped on the veranda of the bar.
All was quiet. The boys were tucked up in their sleeping bags. Until...
Schnell, schnell! Reinhardt!
Austrian chavs.
there was a huge group of Austrian chavs riding their mopeds in the car park next to where the boys were sleeping.
The boys were very scared and had to keep very quiet.
Tom, Mike and Flame were very, very quiet, but still couldn't sleep.
Dees, however, was fast asleep and not being very quiet.
Eventually, Mike and Tom got to sleep as well.
But Flame lay awake all night.
The brave boys were all up at 5:30 the next morning and had left quickly, so they were not caught camping illegally on an abandoned campsite.
But there was a lot of uphill on this day, and Flame's lack of sleep took its toll.
In the end, he couldn't go on, so he had to sleep by the side of the road.
While Flane was asleep, the other boys made a magic drink for him.
After a sleep, and some magic drink inside him, Flame felt much better, and off the boys set once again.
They finally got to their first proper campsite of the expedition. It was lovely, and had hot showers.
The first shower the boys had had for more than 2 days.
After they were showered, their thoughts turned to their stomachs.
But just as they started cooking, it rained.
Luckily, some very nice Dutch people offered their caravan awning to cook under.
But Flame decided that he wasn't that hungry and threw it all over the floor.
And was made to pick it all up by the other boys.
Now they were clean, fed, and in a legal campsite, the boys felt it was time for a celebration.
At 8 o'clock the next morning, the boys were up and ready to go.
Off they set, down a very big hill.
The path was very long and very wet, but the boys finally got to their campsite.
As usual, the boys' thoughts were immediately on food.
They cooked the most enormous curry you have ever seen, using 2 kilograms of rice.
Tom and Flame gave it their all, but dropped out with 1.5 kilos of rice left.
Dees and Mike soldiered on for the good of the group.
The rice went down and down.
Mike and Dees' stomachs got bigger and bigger.
Soon the rice was all gone, and Mike and Dees lay back, full but victorious.
After their food had gone down, Dees had a genius idea.
He offered to pay for all the boys to have a shower if they could go swimming in Lake Ipsy, which was next to the campsite.
The boys agreed and pulled on their shorts. Flame, however, was not thinking as he pulled on a pair of white boxer shorts.
The boys had great fun swimming, though they were careful not to look at Flame to avoid seeing his Hoserschlange.
When they were showered and dried off, the boys decided to celebrate another fine day's cycling.
The boys awoke bright and early, apart from Flame, who had a hangover from the non-alcoholic beer they were drinking the night before.
They set off once again and soon came to the top of a huge mountain.
It was a rough dirt track all the way down, with massive drops at the sides. The boys were all very scared.
At the bottom of the mountain was a river. This river was the border between Austria and Germany.
On the German side of the border there was a very scary sign. The brave boys were not deterred though, and cycled on.
The boys were nearly back at base camp. They cycled over the most amazing bridge
Ever.
A rainbow had been painted on the arch of the bridge, and the boys thought it was very, very pretty.
Past the bridge and up one last hill, the boys were back at base camp.
The boys jumped for joy as they laid down their bikes, readjusted their cycling underwear and headed for the showers.